Hello friends, it's Lisa and I'm back today with the start of a month-long watercolor extravaganza. Today we're going to start with the Jane Davenport markers, and they're technically ink-based. That means that they're dye-based. So that means that the dye soaks into the paper and actually changes the color of the fiber in the paper. That's how dyes work, as opposed to pigment watercolors, which lay pigment on top of the paper. So, doesn't really matter. I'm still considering it watercolor. Here I am taking one of her stamp sets, and this is one I got from Michael's. If you've been to Michael's and seen the Jane Davenport section, you've seen the stamp. It's really nice. They have a set of faces, and I thought, oh, that'll be so fun. I'm working my way through her new Fabulous Figures books, and I really like her style. So I just went ahead and heat embossed that stamp onto some Bristol Smooth watercolor paper, and I'm going to just go ahead and tape it down to my Tim Holtz media mat so that as I put water on and the paper starts to expand, which is natural because the fibers when wet expand in the paper, so taping it down will help it dry flat. That's why you go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if you don't, you get some weird bendy pages. Now, with these markers, you have to understand, unless you're going to paint the marker off on the side and mix in a darker color, that what comes out of the marker is going to be your darkest shade. Adding the water, like I'm doing with this watercolor brush, and it's an Arteza watercolor brush, just in case you're interested. I really like them. But when you add the water, it's going to dilute it. So that's my one issue with watercolor markers in general. I'm going to skip to the end, but I do really like these markers. They hold a lot of watercolor. They're a lot of fun, and they're really easy to use. They make it really simple to do the Jane Davenport easy breezy, fun, whimsical look, which I thought I did pretty well in this card that I'm doing right now. I haven't turned it into a card. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use this for, but I went ahead and have made the paper. So if you are looking for a card video, this may not be it, but you can easily take this, cut it down, mat it, put a tiny little sentiment like "be fabulous" or "you are fabulous," and you'd be done. Anyway, here I am adding this purple color. I have to say that I liked the colors that are in this first 12 pack. You got the nice skin tone, although it's a little light for me. It's very pale skin tone, which is kind of funny because I'm very light, but I'm by far the lightest person in my family. So looking at, when you're looking at other people, you're like, oh, darker skin tones. And so that makes sense to me, even though that's about the color that I am. Anyway, here I am taking the purple marker, and I was just trying to make her hair flow. She looks like she's in one of those commercials, the hair commercials where they are flipping their hair back and it's long and luxurious, and you're like, why can't I have that hair? And then you remember that they probably sat in hair and makeup forever. Anyway, I'm off topic. I'm not actually talking about how these markers work. They work really well. I felt like they blended out. For being ink or dye based, you're gonna get some of that initial line that you put down, it's going to stay. That's okay. You just have to know that when you're using these markers. If you don't want that line at all, just brush it off on the side and pick it up with your watercolor marker. So the liquid flows out really well. You do have to press to get some more water like I just did there. Or not some more water, but some more of the ink to come down, which is actually a good thing because you don't want it just dripping out. That's gonna mess up your project. So I'm putting some blue and purple on her hair. At this point, it looks like a total mess, and that's okay. Her lips and her skin and her eyes all were very simple. I just put the color down and blended it out. On the hair, I'm trying to add some dimension and color and vibrancy that is a little bit more textured than her face was. So one thing you will notice, and this is a paper problem, I think, rather than a marker problem, is you'll see some squiggly lines. And what that is I'm holding my water brush to the side and scratching the paper. That makes those marks and you can't get them off. You'll see in an upcoming video for the Dr. P.H. Martins. Hint, hint, I have a ton of liquid watercolors. I got the Dr. P.H. Martins, Hero Arts, Avery L, and the Pink Fresh. I decided to go ahead and add this Jane Davenport watercolor review in with those other ones just because I really wanted those markers, and I think a lot of people have them. So do you really need these other mediums? They are fairly different, but I think you're going to be using them for the same types of things. So we'll look at that. Please subscribe if you're interested in more of these watercolor videos, because I have a ton coming up and I'd love to share them with you. Now, I wasn't sure what to do with her shirt. You could see at the beginning there, I was kind of drawing her body in. It didn't really work out, so I just added more color and washed it out with a bit of water. That's pretty simple. Now you'll see I have a new heat gun that is an actual, I think it's a paint gun or it's a heat gun, but what I got it from Lowe's, and it's meant to heat paint up so you can scratch it off of furniture, so it gets hot really quickly. It's by Wagner, just like the heat tool that is marketed as for crafters. I like this one better because it's half the price, heats up faster, and the body of it is in a gun rather than a barrel, and I feel less like I'm about to drop this burning hot metal onto myself, because at the very tip of it is metal. You can see that in some of the photos, so that's why I like that one. Now I've taken a Sharpie pen because I wasn't sure if I was going to go back and add some additional detailing. So you need a waterproof marker if you're going to add more watercolor on top. I started out trying to make it all fancy and nice, and then I just went crazy. So once I knew kind of what I wanted, I'm going back and adding some thicker lined details to help blend the stamp into the drawing aspect. And that's it. I had a lot of fun with these markers. Stay tuned. I will have a full review of all 5 of these liquid watercolors coming up where I compare and contrast them, do different techniques with them, but I wanted to show you a video of just using each one. So have a wonderful day, and like I said, subscribe if you're interested in seeing some of these, or just come back and check me out in just a few days. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Goodbye.